Welcome to the Fit Life for Busy Parents podcast. My name is Coach Cam, and our mission here is simple. We want to empower you to be able to go out, crush your fitness goals through simple and easy strategies to follow as a busy parent or adult. I want everybody who is watching to please welcome in with a warm welcome our main man, Ryan Fitzgerald. What's going on, Ryan? How are you doing, man?
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for taking time to be on the podcast tonight. Ryan, if you don't already know, is one of the founding members of the Tidal Wave family, the title training group that we have here, who's been absolutely crushing this program. He is absolutely amazing at what he does. Came in, ground floor, teach me how to do this. Really, really just a great learning student and is honestly just excelled on this program. So I'm super happy to have you here, man. And just go ahead and explain to the people a little bit about you, your background, what you do, what you're into.
Well, no, again, thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be on here, so thank you. But I am Ryan. I'm 24 years old and I'm from Illinois. Just a little bit about me. I've always been someone who's been passionate about fitness. Probably one of my first major influencers was C-Bum, and
Yeah.
seeing how big he was and just following him in his competitions, it's like, man, like, I know I would love to be like him. And,
Yeah, right.
you know, I it was hard to like not notice him, obviously, physically speaking, but just being able to envision myself in his body. It's like, you know what, like that'd be amazing.
Right.
So that's honestly what kind of motivated me to get into fitness firsthand. Um, but on the other hand, I was a student. I have been an athlete since probably middle school. I was
Yeah.
very competitive with baseball. I was a multi-sport athlete in middle school growing up. I was playing football. I was playing um, baseball at the same time simultaneously. Um, First it was football in the fall, then transitioning it over to the spring with the baseball season. So I was staying consistent in shape, and I thought that things were looking bright for me. Um, so I've always been a health freak. But when I was growing up, I was considered obese. I think when I think 12, I think I was about 50 or 60 pounds overweight,
Okay.
for my typical age group. Um, I remember going to the hospital, I don't know, probably every other couple weeks, getting blood tests, and you're like, "Hey, like, doctor's like, you need to start eating healthier. You need to start losing some weight." And it's like, thanks, easier said than done. And especially as a
Right.
12-year-old, you don't
Right.
really expect.
Absolutely.
And it's as a 12-year-old too, it's you're thinking to yourself, "Is it my fault? Is it my parents' fault?" And it's like, no,
Right.
it's neither. It's neither. It's just the bad habits that I was surrounded in.
Sure.
And and that's kind of what motivated me as well to get going on to this fitness journey. So
Yeah.
like I said, baseball and sports were the first stepping stone of my journey. And I'm grateful that I was and have been an athlete since, and I
Yeah.
think it's kinda helped me, kickstart my fitness journey. So,
Awesome.
played high school baseball, was grateful enough to even play college baseball, and that's
Yeah.
when I started to hit the peak of my journey. It's like, okay, like, I'm in college, I'm on my own, I
Right.
have great positive peers around me that can motivate me more to hit my fitness goals, and that's when I, started to hit the road with that, and things just kinda continued on from there. So, I do remember meeting you on TikTok,
Yeah.
um and I was like, "Okay, like, this guy seems to know what he's talking about." And I
Right.
remember always going to, this guy, this person, this chick, and, it's hard to trust someone.
Right.
You know, 8 months ago, and I'm going on a tangent, so I apologize, but,
No, you're
um,
fine, man. Take your time.
I've been a part of the Tidal Wave program for about 8 months. So, I mean, just, flashbacking to 8 months ago, like, we were complete strangers, and now
Yeah,
I feel we've known each other for
right.
years.
Yeah. Family at this point, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So, but no, that's kinda it about me. I mean, it's been baseball and work for me. I
Yeah.
am a full-time teacher, so at first, I thought, "You know what? Like, I'm so busy, there's gonna be no way for me to fit everything into
Right.
my fitness journey," and, you've helped me learn a whole lot about myself and, what I'm capable of and what I'm capable of with, the schedule that I have and, being
Right.
able to, make sacrifices, but still being able to, obviously enjoy the food that I like and to
Yeah.
enjoy life, most importantly, so.
Absolutely, man. No, I appreciate that intro. And like honestly, it's kind of funny because you were talking about how you were kind of like overweight, right? And you were kind of like, well, what am I going to do here to be able to kind of lose this weight for, when you're around 12 years old? And we kind of had like the reverse of that. I was always really, really skinny in my younger years, right? When I was 9, 10, 11, 12. Um, and then as I started to get out of sports, high school ended, was not gifted enough with basketball, which was my sport of choice, to be able to play into college. That's when I gained a bunch of weight, and I went from you know probably around like 150, 160 at that time, all the way up to about 245, and then started kind of the same thing, like, what the hell am I going to do here to change this, right? And the bad eating habits was really the main thing. And it's beautiful to be able to see that regardless of whether you had good eating habits or had the sports in your life early on, or whether it's later on in your life, that being able to implement things can drastically change your life, right? And it's not too far gone. It's something that we can always still be able to, if we start now, be able to change going forward, right? So
Mhm, and kind of, piggybacking what you said, I looking back at it now, I mean, as a
yeah,
12-year-old, I mean, I ate and I still do. I eat whatever I is in front of me. I love food.
same here,
And I think going back to when I was 12 years old, I mean, yeah, I didn't know any better. I just ate whatever was in front of me. And,
same here.
you know, me having that idea that, hey, I'm still in sports, that kind of evens it out. Like
Yeah,
realizing it now, like that's not how it works.
you're right.
There's more to it.
Absolutely.
So I mean, we live and we learn, and all we can do is just move forward and just continue to push through.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I'm so glad that, through sports you were able to find the priority right in your life of being like, hey, my health is important, right? My weight is important. Being able to, be in a good physical space is important for me to continue with longevity and to be able to have the energy that I want and so on and so forth. And so with that, man, I know that you said that obviously as you got out of high school and going into college, that you kind of hit your peak with your physique, with your energy, with your ability to probably endurance, right? All that good stuff that you were getting through baseball. Uh, what was your health like in your mind or in your opinion right before starting with title training, right? So before 8 months ago when we were kind of exchanging on TikTok, what was your health like? What was your physique like? What were you, feeling and looking to change?
So, so I think I mean, like I said, sports has been a very big part of my life, and it's kind of helped me start working out in the first place. So I was always consistently working out. Was I doing the right thing? Probably not. In my
None of
mind,
us
I'm
are in the
thinking,
beginning, right?
yeah, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm working out. I think I'm doing okay. So I was never a quote unquote fat person, but at the same
Uh-huh.
time, I was never skinny. I was always in
Yeah.
the middle, and I mean, I was always chunky. That's how I could probably as best as describe myself, chunky.
Right.
Um, and so at that point, it was just like, okay, like I'm working out. I feel like I'm getting stronger. I feel like I'm doing the right things. I'm following CBum, and you know, you
There you
know,
go.
going back to before I even met you in Tidal Wave, it's like, you know what? If CBum's doing it and I'm doing it, like why am I not being like CBum?
Right.
So that's when things started to like really hit me, and it's like, okay, like now I need to start, realizing and thinking hard, okay, like what do I need? What tools do I need to in order to become, like a C bum? Um, so I thought nutritionally, I was eating healthy. Was I the healthiest eater? No. Could I have eaten better? Probably. I mean, when I've been, like I said, baseball, baseball, baseball. I mean, it's weekends are probably my favorite time of the year during baseball season because it's always fast
Mm,
food. So it's always
right.
McDonald's, always
Always a good
Chipotle.
food.
Exactly. And, I'm always on the go. And so I thought, like I said, for the most part, nutritionally, I was eating. I wasn't eating like a slob. I wasn't eating McDonald's every day. So to me, that was quote unquote healthy and okay.
Right.
Um, but so I thought nutritionally I was fine. And I made the connection of how nutrition was kind of affecting my physicality. Um, and I think that was probably the hardest area of my fitness journey to kind of nail down, especially being a
Right.
college student. I mean, my roommate, he was a bodybuilder. I mean, he was
Okay.
jacked. And honestly, like we clicked right away because we were both
Yeah.
gym rats. Like we
Right.
loved gym, and that's how we were roommates my sophomore and junior year, and we were like, yeah, 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 let's start meal prepping, and I'll help you, you'll help me, and
Right.
uh, so like that didn't really fall through. So at that point, I was stuck to square one again. So that's
Yeah.
kind of I was on my own, and like I said, like I knew I wasn't unhealthy.
Yeah.
I was average, but I knew I could have been better.
Right.
And that's one thing about me is if I want something, I want it, and I will go get it, and I will do
Right.
whatever it takes to go achieve my goals. So that's when I found you on TikTok, and that's
Right.
when we started chit chatting and started to
Yeah.
start this journey.
Turn one day into a lifestyle, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I think that that's so common for so many people. I think that so many people obviously know what they want to get to, right? They know that they want to look, I mean, maybe not necessarily like C-bum, right? You have big, big, big dreams. But at the same time, it's like I want to lose a little bit of weight. Maybe that's 20 pounds, 15 pounds, whatever. They know that they want to put on a little bit of size, right? Whatever it exactly is for them. But they kind of more or less know that. And then oftentimes they more or less know something to follow, right? Like how you said, going to the gym. I see Sebum, I see his splits on YouTube, I see like what he's focusing on. He's kind of giving out some gems and some of his, you know, prep work, like whatever it might be, right? So you can kind of pick up some of that. But I think a lot of it comes down to like really understanding the whole like 360 strategy, right? Like how you said, the nutrition, exercise. How often should I go? How often should I be doing these splits? Is it a bad thing to eat after 8 p.m., right? Is there something to eating more than 30 grams of protein in a serving, right? Like things like that that are here, things that we hear online. And it causes all this like gray haze around us having a crystal clear vision of this is what I do, this is how I get results. Let's stay here, right? So I think that that's a lot of it. Do you feel like that as well?
No, I agree, and I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, there was a point in time in college where I was like, okay, like I'm this close to giving up. Like I don't know what else to
Right,
do, and it's like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like I'm doing this, I'm not seeing anything. I might as well just stop if I'm not going to continue to see anything.
yeah,
And I think it was really difficult for me because I had nothing. I had no one when I was a student athlete and at school.
yeah,
I mean, I had no resources. My coach, she wasn't no help.
right.
Well, my roommate, he was helpful to a certain extent, but like he knew way more, and I felt like a burden if I were to ask him, "Hey, man, like, how do
Right.
you how do you know about this? Like, how do you know that chicken
Right.
has this amount of protein and this amount of calories? Like, where
Right.
does it say that on the on the nutrition label?"
Yeah.
Um, so it does it. there were it sucked for a while, but I mean, I think one thing I've learned now is, don't give up so easily. Continue
Right.
to push through, and good things come to those who wait. So.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. You perfectly on it, and you kind of beat me to my question because I was going to ask you, how was this kind of affecting you as a whole? And it sounded like because of this lack of clarity, lack of knowledge, kind of I don't know exactly where to turn to, right? College coaches and it help. I don't want to be a burden to my roommate, kind of thing. That it was kind of like causing. I don't want to say depression because that kind of has like a lot of it's a loaded word, right? But it was kind of getting you to a place where you were demotivated at a minimum, right?
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, there were times where, my roommate be like, "Hey, yo, Ryan, like, you wanna go lift?" I'm like, no, we just got back from practice. I don't really feel like doing anything." I mean,
Yeah,
if I'm not gonna see any results like my roommate, then I'm not, you know, if I'm not looking
yeah,
like you, I don't want it. So
yeah,
it was tough, and it, I don't think it really got me depressed, and I'm not saying
right,
that, but like you said, like it continued to create that gray haze, and
right.
it just continued to, leave me in the middle of nowhere.
Right. And just demotivated, feeling like, hey, my goals are not attainable, right? Maybe this isn't meant for me, right? And that's the thing that got me so into coaching and why I ended up doing this, why I opened up title training, why I, do this today is that that's exactly how I felt. When I was 245 pounds, I felt like I was too far gone. Like I had 85 pounds of fat to lose. I virtually had no muscle at that time. And it was kind of the same thing. Like I've done low carb diets. I've done this kind of diet. I've done an extreme this. I've done an extreme that. I've ran for hours. I've done Stairmaster. Like these things don't work long term. I might lose a little bit of weight, but then I go backwards. And so like, what is the point? Why am I working so hard? Right. But it's kind of like how you said, like if you want something in your head, for certain individuals, it's like I'm going to keep running into that wall until I break through that thing. So,
Mhm.
luckily for me, and same thing for you, we had that tenacity and continued to go until we figured it out and we found something that worked for us. But that's the part that really inspired me to go into coaching is that I don't want people to feel that way. I want people to be able to say, this is my goal. Oh, here's the answer, and go be able to go after it. Right. And so I'm glad that we were able to connect on that level through TikTok and the beautiful world of social media, be able to bring us together and honestly create like a great friendship and honestly be part of a family that we're creating here at Title Training. So it's really glad. I'm really glad to have met you and bring you in here and honestly have you on this podcast for that exact reason, man. So how do you feel like this has really either changed your life or even just maybe from health purposes, like help you from your 8 months at Title Training?
I mean, you stole my words. I mean, you have clarified everything for me. I remember the first thing that our first discussion,
Mhm.
what's the one thing you have struggled with? It's food. It's nutrition. I love food. I love eating it, but I don't know how to read it. I don't know
Yeah.
what's good or what's considered bad. And, I remember the first video you sent me with the scale. You were
Mhm.
explaining the scale, how to weigh and how that correlates to the calories, to the protein, and um, eh, you and the program have helped simplify everything for me. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
yeah, but when day 1, everything you were explaining to me, it sounded like Chinese to me. I was, like, reading, like, a
Yeah.
manual in a different
Right.
language, and it's like, I don't know how to create this desk in,
Right.
Japanese. Oh, that's how I looked at the back of a nutrition label, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, yep, no. Cookies, probably bad, chicken, probably good." That's probably as best
Right.
as I knew, but for you to explain everything, it definitely helped and made everything much clearer. And that I think was like the biggest issue I had. It was just nutrition. I
Yeah.
I had I mean, me being a student athlete, I had the workout
That
background.
was bread and butter right there. You were good.
Yeah, I no issues whatsoever, and it was just like the eating, and then that's when things started to really click for me. Like, okay, like now I have this going for me. Now I just need to incorporate this into it,
Yeah.
and then hopefully this plus this equals C bump. So
There you go.
exactly. So, but no, just simplifying everything. And I think another thing that really helped me was, the way you explain things and in sort of like a positive light. I love one thing about the program I love is the daily check-ins, or I'm
Yeah,
sorry, the weekly check-ins. It's an accountability check for yourself and for everyone else in the chat.
yeah,
Like that's the time for us to come to you with questions, anything that we like that we're stuck with.
yeah,
The way what seemed negative to me was an actual win in your
yeah,
opinion, and for you to open up another perspective just made it more enjoyable and more for me, it made it helped me understand more about myself and, the situation that I thought was negative to actually turn into a positive.
right.
Um, I like, "Oh my god, like, I ate a cookie today." And you're like, Ryan, when was the last time you had a cookie? Like, did you at least enjoy it? That cookie's not
Mhm.
gonna kill you. You
Right.
know why? Because you already met your macros for the day. So that cookie is not gonna kill you.
Yeah,
So being able to understand that and having, like I said, a positive insight uh, in every situation, it just
yeah,
makes me feel better about food, about myself, and about, my fitness journey as a whole.
yeah. No, I'm glad to hear that, man. And I think the reason why when first came in, you were like, hey, the nutrition's what I struggle with. I don't really know how to read like the back of a box or the back of a can, like to figure out what these numbers mean. And it spoke so much to me is because that's exactly where I was at. I was taught from a very early age of like, hey, if it has a carb, it's bad. Like, don't eat that. That was the extent of my understanding what any of that meant, right? And even like the 2,000 calories that's like on everything, it says like based off of 2,000 calorie diet. I thought that meant everybody's supposed to eat 2,000 calories, whether you're like the guy that's 400 pounds or you're the guy who's 120 pounds. Like everybody's 2,000. That's the like our collective points when we start Monopoly or whatever. The cash you get kind of thing. And so it was like, oh, like this is exactly what I want to help Ryan, but people in general with, because I think just like you said, so many people know cookies bad, chicken good, gym good, not going to gym bad, right? Cardio good, not doing cardio bad, like water good, soda bad, right? Like those kind of basic things, people kind of know that they're more or less true, right? And we can agree that in a whole, if you're eating cookies all day, that's not a great thing. And if you're eating chicken all day, most people won't really be mad at you, right? It'll be like, all right, you're doing a keto diet. So those things are fine, but I think that there's a balance there where you can have a cookie or two, or maybe even four if you were really, really good earlier on in the day. And then you can have the other things that fit up the other 80% of what you eat and still lose weight and make it enjoyable. And that was the game changer for me. It wasn't so much saying never have a cookie again, but rather you do good early on in the day, you can have a few cookies. And it's like, oh, okay, so if I don't have that donut that I don't really care for, I could have these, four cookies that I really, really have been thinking about, or have a crumble cookie maybe that I've been thinking about all week. That's their, new signature one or whatever. So that was the thing that made it so exciting for me. It was like, I want to be able to teach people this because this is the key for so many people. You know what I mean?
No, and one thing I want to add is like I would always listen to both my parents, they had
Mhm.
the stomach surgery, the bypass with the
Oh
sleeve.
yeah, yeah, like yeah,
I don't know
like
the term,
bariatric
but
surgery.
yes,
Yeah.
because they said both of them were overweight,
Okay.
and, I remember going with them, with my
hmm
mom, especially because she had it first,
Okay.
always to her dietitian appointments, and I would sit in on the meeting, and I would listen, okay, the dietitian would be like, "This is what you're supposed to eat, this is what you're not supposed to eat,"
hmm
"Do this, don't do this," and, seeing my mom through that entire process was, like, horrible. I knew my mom was not happy whatsoever. Meanwhile, 12-year-old me, I'm still stuffing myself with cookies, and my
Of course,
mom over
man. You're
here was
12.
yeah, and my mom over here is, like, eating a salad, and she's like, I'm not really enjoying life right now, or the
Yeah,
salad.
right.
So, like, for you, like I said, to, like, twist twist,
Yeah,
the perspective of things and, tell me, "Hey," like, "you can have
yeah,
a cookie, you're not gonna die from having a cookie," like, it
right,
just made me more relieved and it motivated me because it's like, for someone who loves food, and especially cookies, like, yeah, I
right,
want that damn cookie, so I'm gonna work my tail off to earn that cookie at the end.
right. That's what it is, man, and I'm really, really sorry to hear that your mom, went through that time period, and hopefully some of the things that you're, learning here, she's hopefully able to implement to an extent and be able to enjoy her food and stuff. But, I kinda saw the same thing growing up. I have an uncle who had, he actually had, like, the lap band surgery, but with that being said, very similar thing. I didn't go to his dietitian, appointments, but I saw him constantly, like, in the beginning eating, and then he would just, like, have to disappear and go to the restroom because I guess he overstuffed himself and would have to, kinda let some stuff back up, and, it was just like, "Dang, like, I don't wanna live like that," but then, again, I was seeing myself and, like, I'm hating what I eat every day, like, this isn't fun either, and it was like, there has to be a happy medium, you know what I mean? Because like you said, we love food, we're human beings, we only get so long on this earth, right? Like, we should be able to at least somewhat enjoy it. It shouldn't be like dog food every single day just because we wanna look pretty good, right? And so, that was the thing that, like, when I kind of started to figure this out for me and it started working, was really the game changer. And I talked about this on the first episode, but I think I've told you the story where I had, like, my 2 Milano cookies first day that I did a flexible diet,
Mhm.
and I was, like,
Yep.
scared to death of it. Yeah, so, I mean, it's that same thing, like, I would literally was told, right, I could do this, I did the research, I figured it out, it was like, "This should work in theory," but still, I trained myself to be scared of it and to really feel like, "Man, this is not what I should be doing," so, it's really, really, really a thing that I feel like I want so many people to be able to enjoy their food, right? And I'm also glad that a perception shift for something like you said, like having a cookie and feeling like, "Man, I messed up," and being able to see the other side of it, it was something that was beneficial for you because perception is everything, man. Like how we perceive life is how we end up taking it, right? And so if you sit there and you have one cookie, right? Just like I had the two Milano's cookies and was scared to death, and you allowed yourself to believe and perceive that you messed up despite being in a calorie deficit, despite hitting your protein goals, despite going to the gym, hitting your water, hitting your cardio, how long are you going to stay on that diet? Because you feel like a failure, right? Lose your
Mhm.
motivation. You're not going to want to do it anymore.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I it going back to, like I said, both my parents went through that time, and,
Right.
obviously, they're much better,
Yeah.
post-surgery, so and I think one thing that I'm really taking away from this is
Hmm.
now my parents come to me, and, here they are
There you
shoving
go.
food labels in my face. "Is this good? Is this good? Can we have this? Can we not have this?" I'm like, "Yeah, yes, yes, no, no, get out of my face," you know, etcetera. So it's, time over time, I'm becoming more confident with,
Good, man.
the traditional side of things and, being able to help others make, I
Yeah.
guess, like, decent decisions.
And that's a huge part of it, man, because not only for your parents right now, or maybe a sibling, right, your brother or whoever, right, girlfriend, friends, whoever, but as you get older and you start to have your own kids, right, your kids pick up what you do on a daily basis, your habits, your swearing, your language, your this, your that. And if you're, hey, I go to the gym 3 days a week. That's what I do. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do too when I'm 16 years old and I can finally go to the gym, right? I'm just gonna start going to the gym 3 days a week because that's what mom and dad did, right? I cook most of my meals at home and I have chocolate at the end of the night. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do too. Those kind of things. They pick those up. So the thing that I was gonna ask you, kind of like segueing into that, because we're talking about the fact that we could have these things that we were always told, you can't eat these things. Ryan, don't eat that cookie. Don't do that. You're gonna get fat. You're gonna get this. You're gonna get that. Is were you skeptical of joining when you were kind of hearing this and like, what? I can eat these things? What were your thoughts on that call?
So I was skeptical at first,
Okay.
and no, nothing against you or the
Yeah,
program, but because I told my parents, I was like, "There's this guy, his name's Camden. He knows what he's talking about," and I kinda agree. I'm like, "Ma, like, this guy's having Chick-fil-A and he's, like, ripped." I go, "How is that possible?"
right.
And and my mom's like, "Oh, that can't be true." I'm just like, "Well, like, it's true," and I'm like, "I'm following him on TikTok." I
Yeah,
go, I'm gonna let it play out, see what
yeah,
happens, if anything changes," but, I mean, my mom was like, who do you meet on TikTok?" She goes I'm like, "That's true," but I'm like, I mean, "Ma, like, you can we have a candy bar in a van, with me, and guess what? I'm going to that candy bar, and guess what? I'm
right.
probably gonna get addicted." Like, and it's my mom was like, "You know what? Like, be careful. Like, do your
Yeah,
research."
sure.
And, I mean, honestly, like, going back to, the other people I was going to and,
Yeah,
one thing that really caught my eye was like, that Chick-fil-A TikTok where you're like, "You know what?
yeah.
You wanna wait and still enjoy a nice dinner at Chick-fil-A? Like, here's what you can do." And I'm like, "You know what? Like, I wanna be able to do that." So, I think that's what really reeled me in. It's like, okay, like, maybe it's not all that bad.
Okay.
Maybe, I still can enjoy the food and still
Right.
get ripped. Now, at this point, it's like, okay, like, yes, I still wanna eat the food. I wanna be able to know what's good, what's bad, and this guy seems to
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what drew me into the program. And like I said, like I, I I'm grateful that we were able to connect and be
Right.
able to get this
Same here.
rolling. And for the past 8 months, like you said, it's been a great friendship and something even more. So I'm very grateful for everything that
Absolutely,
you
man.
have done for me these past 8 years, 8 months.
Yeah, man. And absolutely, vice versa, because it goes both ways. You know what I mean? Like a friendship, a family, relationship really does. It's a two-way street, right? And if I'm doing a bunch of stuff to be able to help you, but you're not really following it, right? You're just kind of like, yeah, I hear you, I hear you, I hear you, but nothing happens. And what good is that information, right? But you're actively listening, you're taking it in, you're implementing it, you're trying things out. And then on top of that, you're also like taking it in and saying, like, well, okay, how can I apply this to different things, right? What are some different things, like even the legendary food pastry, tasty pastries, I think is what they're called. But they're like
Mhm.
if you're listening out there, they're like basically like a Pop Tart, but they're protein, right? And I remember when you kind of brought those to me, and I was like, oh, like let me check those out as well. And so like those are things too where I'm learning from you as well on this journey, So it's really really cool. And the thing I say is funny is, so the thing that made you skeptical about the program is also ultimately the thing that made you join the program. It sounds like, right? It's a
Yeah,
double-ended sword, I guess.
yeah, yeah. And I know my mom was like, Ryan, like, be careful and
Mhm.
make sure he's not a scam. And
Right.
I don't think he's a scam. He has a
Yeah.
family. And my mom was like, they all have families, so just be careful. And I'm just like,
Well,
but
hopefully I have mom's approval now. But
oh,
that's a funny story.
oh no, yeah, no, they're completely with me now. And like I said, it's been nothing but a blessing. And I mean,
Yeah, man, I'm
I
glad.
I have been, one I have been one to always have been invested in myself. And I think you said it to me a while back where it's like, like, yeah, the reason why, what is it, you said it perfectly. It's not about the money. You're not about the money. You're more about the results and you want people to be
Absolutely.
happy. And but the one thing is that like if you're not investing in yourself financially, then you're probably not going to be invested in yourself, period. You
Yeah.
know? So there's that double-edged sword where it's like, yeah, like you need to be, financially,
Yeah.
for yourself, but at the same time, it's like that's also motivation. Like, why am I going to be paying this amount of money
Right.
to do nothing?
Right.
That's like becoming an artist, starting a painting, and then just quitting after 5 minutes because it's not your vision. You
Right.
need to continue to work and paint on that canvas and, just watch it create into something
Yeah,
beautiful. And that's kind of
for
what
sure.
this is. And I think that's the beauty of this. It's, we are our own work of art. You know, we are
Absolutely.
obviously the artist, and you know what? It's like we have to be happy with what we have.
Right.
We're in the process of, creating something new, and you know what? Like, if it takes a year, it takes a year. If it takes less,
Right.
it takes less. But no matter what, like we started it, and now we have to finish it. So,
Right. No, and I hear you, man. And I think the way that kind of looking at it too is like how you said, like if we're an artist, right? Is an artist can be one of two things, right? They can make the same exact masterpiece, but one can be completely stressed out, right? There's a deadline. It's like, oh my gosh, I got to do it by this point. Everything's pressure. Everything's, I got to work on this 8 hours a day because there's so much pressure on it. Versus the artist, maybe it takes 2 years, right? But they really have free flow creativity. They enjoy the process. They play their favorite music. They're able to, backtrack at times and be able to, say, hey, this is the priority right now is this corner, even though I was working over here, let's figure this out and let's do this, right? And that can be the exact same thing with our fitness. People who do it super, super extreme, right? And it's like, oh, I got to do this in 6 months. They don't enjoy the process. They're constantly working. They're never being able to, look around and enjoy their flowers, right? And the same thing, if you kind of do it at a slower pace where you enjoy it and you're able to really implement this and make it a lifestyle, you can enjoy it. And it's really one of those things, man. But that's the way I like to look at it. That's the way that I feel like is the most enjoyable and the most lifelong results is that you enjoy it. You realize that you have the value right now. Reaching this goal as quickly as possible isn't going to make you more valuable, isn't going to make you more impressive, isn't going to make you more, qualified, whatever you want to put on it. You already have all that. And this process is simply to show, right, that you are that valuable, that you're willing to put that much time into yourself. Just the same way that the artist already has the talent. They don't have to paint that painting to prove that there's talent. But by taking their time and painting it, now they prove to everybody else, I told you I had this talent. It's right here. I knew I had it. Now you guys get to enjoy the beauty with me, right? So I think that that's a really, really
mhm.
great way to put it. And I like that for sure. Uh, with that being said, right, this masterpiece, this sculpture that you were creating as the artist, who would you say this program as a whole is for? Who do you think that would benefit the most from this style of a program?
Going back, like the perspective that you create, I, I thought, honestly, it's open for anyone.
Okay,
Anyone
I like it.
with anyone with the goal, anyone that's determined to create a change for themselves. I think, me personally, another thing you have done for me is you have helped me build and strengthen my confidence. I think you're able to do that with anyone. And that's why I say this is open up to anyone, because I feel like everyone is going to be in the same position that you and I both were when we
Absolutely.
first started our fitness journey. But the one thing that I and whoever else is listening, when they come here, one thing that they're going to have that we didn't was you by our side to push us, to motivate us, to build confidence in us and say, hey, like you got this. And it's not that hard. All you got to do is just take it step by step and just watch the results come in.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's one of those things, man. I think people think it's artificial or it's generic when I say that I truly do believe in people. Like I know that they have the value to be able to do this style of program and to get their, dream physique or ultimate results, whatever you want to call it, because I know that I'm no different than anybody else. Like I'm not someone who was always in impeccable shape and then I just kind of was like, ah, everybody could do it. Come on, guys, you guys can do it too. Like I was really that guy that everybody was like, that guy? Like, you want to bring him? All right. I mean, I guess he can come. Come on. Just come on. I don't want to second guess it. Like, come to the party, kind of thing. Like, I wasn't the most popular guy. I wasn't the guy that all the girls wanted. Like, I think my wife still kind of has some kind of like hard time grasping that because I was relatively thin when she met me. Is that I was not that guy. I wasn't a player. I wasn't any of that. I was the guy that everybody was kind of like, all right, yeah, come along. That's a chunky guy. Yeah, he can come with the acne all over him. Yeah, go ahead, bring him. He can come along too. And so for that reason, man, like when I hear people and they're like, man, it's hard, it's 100 pounds, it's this, it's that. I'm like, I hear you. Like I get mentally why it's hard. But if we do this together, if we really change your mindset and we realize you have the value, you should treat your body right, you should do this in a way that really allows you to be in a space of love and abundance for yourself versus a space of like, I'm not valuable, I'm worthless if I don't get these results. I need to get these results right now. Because if I'm just wasting time being unvaluable, like that's not a good place to be in. Because then you get those results, but so what? Like you don't care about yourself still, and that goalpost is always going to keep moving back. So it's like if you love yourself during the process, you focus, like even like you said, like you can have the damn cookie, enjoy the cookie, enjoy your life, have fun, people around you love you, like those things are important. So I definitely agree with you, man, and I'm really glad that perception shift was something that you took away from the program.
No, and I think, kind of going back to what you said, I think that's another thing that kind of like that stands out, tidal wave, from other people, and that's kind of why I wasn't as skeptical as I was, when joining. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you are more about enjoying life while maintaining and hitting our goals, while other people are like, you know what, you got to do this, you know, this way, and that way. You got to do this consistently, otherwise you're gonna die. Otherwise, you're gonna continue to be fat. You're gonna continue to look like the way you are. Yada yada yada. You're never gonna be like me, sort
right.
of, kind of like ego.
Yeah,
And
that's what it is.
that's like people don't want to do that. Like yeah, you hit your goals, great. Now, how do you feel? It's there's more to life than just working out, but it's like, yes, we want to be able to work out and enjoy life. And
Right,
I I don't think many other um people out there, I don't think they really get both ends. I think it's just one
right.
or the other.
Absolutely. No, and I hear you, man. And it's one of those things. I think when I usually say it this way to people, and then people are like, "Oh, dang, like I guess you're right." Is what is the purpose of us doing this, right? It's yeah, you want to get to have a six pack, or for women maybe you want toned legs, or like this back part of your arm fat to go away, or whatever it is that you're looking at. But the purpose of that is not to get that result. It's to enhance your life, right? It's to make you feel more confident, have the self belief. It's all the things that come from that physical result, right? So if you don't enhance your life because you hate life to be able to get the physical result, then you just ended up leaving yourself in the same pickle. Like now you got the physical result, but you hate how you have to get there and how you have to maintain it. So now, like, what was the purpose, right? And so it's one of those things, man. It's like you got to look at what the ultimate goal is. If it's to enhance your life, you got to make it something that it actually enhances your life, that you actually enjoy, right? And so I think that's what we both have agreed, it has been the big thing for your experience here, and why, compared to what you have done before or what I've done before, that we actually like this and that we're actually having a good time and liking the ultimate results. So kind of closing argument, closing thoughts here. If there's someone listening out there and they're like, I like that, that sounds good. I don't know, man. I'm like how you were a little skeptical. What would be your thing that you're like, do it for this? I know it's a loaded question.
Yeah, honestly, like, I I me personally, I just went with my gut. I had a good feeling with you. Um, I mean, that's probably the best advice I can give to those who are listening. Like, go with your gut. There is nothing negative that I can say about you, this entire program, and my experience here. And,
Yeah.
you can pay me all the money in the world. I I don't think I can ever think about anything negative with this. My experience has been nothing but a blessing. I have seen not just physical changes, but mental and emotional changes. I'm more confident. I'm happier. I'm like I'm walking around with my chest puffed out at the gym, at work. Like 8 months ago, I wasn't doing that. I was that
Right.
I was walking with my shoulders slouched forward, kind of hiding, you know, guys, whoever's listening out there, like if you are willing to make a change, not just physically, but if you are someone that's in the same position as I was 8 months ago, where you're down mentally, physically, emotionally, this dude is the dude. And like I say, he's not paying me any money. This is coming from the bottom of my heart. I would not trade the past 8 months for the world. It's been a blessing. It's been a fun journey. And the people that are a part of this program, they are also nice building blocks and nice
Right.
people to just kind of rely on if you ever need anything. And I think you said it perfectly since day one. I mean, we are turning this day one into a lifestyle, and
Mm.
you do get to meet a lot of great people along the way that you can definitely call your friend, or in my experience, another family
Yeah,
that I haven't had. So if
absolutely,
that
man.
if that answers your question, that's probably as best as I can. I mean,
Yeah,
guys, like I said, this is a great opportunity. It's open for anyone, and I do hope you guys take my word into consideration. I mean, I'm not lying when I say that it's been nothing but a blessing.
that's awesome, man. I'm so glad to hear that, Ryan. Honestly, you make title training what it is. You, the rest of the Tidal Wave family, it is not successful because of me. It is not turning one day into a lifestyle because of me. It's truly the value that you guys bring, the way that you guys support each other. And I think that's what a lot of people also need on their journey. They need to understand the nutrition, right? They don't really get how this integrates in everything, how to make it a lifestyle, how to make it effortless, how to make it enjoyable, but also support. So oftentimes people fall off because people are kind of giving them a side eye when they're tracking things or when they're going to the gym, and it's like, you don't need to do that, you don't need to go all the time, come out with us, come do this. And this group where we drop our workouts in there when we're done with them, we drop our nutrition in there, we're dropping TikToks, recipes, supporting each other when we're down 5 pounds, all that good stuff, man, is so priceless in my opinion. It's so great to see all of you guys continue to progress together, because there's really nothing like it. Like it truly is a family at the end of the day, and you guys support each other so well that it's just truly a blessing for me to have such incredible people around me and part of this program, that it really makes turning one day into a lifestyle pretty effortless, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And like I said, I mean, like you said, I mean, the amount of support that we have, it does make the journey much easier. And again, it opens up plenty of other doors of perspective. What
Right,
again, it's a down day for us, but you know what? Like we have, a whole lot of other people, there to back you up and be like, you know what? No, we're
right,
fine. There to pick you
absolutely.
back up, motivate you to continue to move on and, not worry about the past and
Yeah.
continue on with your life. So
Absolutely. Ryan, I thank you so much for your time, man. You have been an absolute gem in this program. You're someone that I'm very, very honored to know, call family, call a friend. And honestly, man, thank you for your time. Fit Life for Busy Parents podcast, episode 3, Ryan Fitzgerald. Everybody out there, go ahead and drop in the comment. Congrats to Ryan for not only taking this leap of faith on himself 8 months ago, but honestly getting incredible results, getting stronger, losing weight. Face is a whole different face than the first face when we had this Zoom call together. And I promise you guys, you will not regret joining title training, being here with my man Ryan and I, and truly turning one day into a lifestyle. Ryan, I wish you nothing but the best this upcoming week, man. Have an incredible rest of your night, and I will talk to you soon.
again, thank you for having me, and I hope you and your family continue to do well. And I hope you guys have a great night.
Absolutely. Everybody out there listening, have a good night. Fit Life for Busy Parents podcast every Friday. This is episode 3. Continue to subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on the episode, and I'll see you on the next one.